Hey, what's going on, guys? It's everyone's favorite anime and manga channel, Los Takus. It's your boy Eric.
And I'm
JT, last week we talked about Jujutsu Kaisen's ending. My Hero has ended. And now One Piece.
Still going strong.
And this week's chapter 1128. We
Titled
are
RPG.
RPG for what's seeming like it's Elbaf. But currently, we don't know if it is or isn't.
Where we last left off from the previous chapter, and that was with the OG 5 Straw Hats. Did you catch that?
I did not catch that. That now that you're saying that, I was like, okay, that makes sense. It was the original 5. Yeah,
the older Straw Hats separate from the younger Straw Hats, maybe for a reason. But the OG 5 Straw Hats have reunited after jumping down from the castle which they were stuck in, and they were fighting these animals, these giant
beasts.
And Nami is being carried by Sanji. No matter how many times Nami experiences high jumps, no matter how safe it is, she just never gets used to it. Always freaks out.
You'd think she'd be like used to it with Luffy, like, you know how in Wano they jumped off the freaking waterfall and everything, but no, still not used to it.
It's never a small jump. And in this case too, it's not a small jump. Like, Sanji, let's fly. And she's just screaming. After they land, they exchanged information where Zoro starts, or we get Zoro starting the conversation by mentioning how what was he doing following up their little reunion. He said that he heard a commotion.
Yeah.
And he miraculously was able to follow that, the sound of that commotion. And when he arrived to wherever the noise is coming from, what he ends up finding was a scene where Luffy was beating up a giant rabbit, bro.
So here we have character development for Zoro because he didn't get lost this time. But at the same time, he didn't really have a direction to go. He was just following the sound, but still. And then I like how Luffy was like, Usopp, you could have taken that cat thing.
Did you notice when he said that, there was like the size effect, the smoke in his mouth?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And he said, you could have taken that cat lion thing, right, Usopp? And I'm like, was that because Luffy was disappointed in having to save Usopp again after all this time? Or was this something akin to, I expected great things from you?
I'm going to go with the latter. Yeah, I'm going to go with the latter statement.
Now, Usopp's response to that is like, it already had me in its mouth when I came to. I want to believe him.
Nah, I don't believe him for a second, bro. He's a liar.
But it's Usopp, bro. Like when we saw it, when Nami found him after following his screams, that's the scene we saw.
Yeah.
So in that sense, that's what happened. Mm-hmm. But what happened leading up to that, we don't know. I can totally see Usopp thinking he's gonna be all warrior-like and then just failing again as usual.
Dude, if anything, he better have some sort of character development, because this is supposed to be like his whole dream. Like right here is, well, again, we don't know, but it's quote unquote Elbaf. We'll go ahead and just call it that for now. But like he has to have some sort of power up, some sort of character development, something, man. Like, come on, dude. Like the last time he got a power up was in Dressrosa, and that was when he finally established his
observation haki.
There you go. Thank you. Observation haki. So does he get armament haki in this arc?
Well, speaking of character development, I guess you can say there's some character development here, because remember, we have the original 5, and just from the last chapter alone, you can see that this bunch isn't the smartest in the shed, bro.
No.
But they do show a glimpse of how they made it this far, because Usopp points out the clothes that they are wearing resemble that of warriors of Elbaf, and as that there's no way they could have had those clothes made for them because they're giants after all.
That's true.
Right? We're normal sized little puny humans, and these are specifically Elbaf designed clothes, so logically thinking, that's kind of weird. I don't think they would have clothes made for humans. Then Nami adds a theory that maybe they could have gigantified somehow.
Yeah.
You know, she just throws that out there. But she says that while examining what looks to be a tree, and as she gets closer and examines it even more closely, it's made out of blocks. So she realized that it's fake, and she kind of rolls out her own theory because things are quite what they seem in this land.
Yeah, I was just like, man, these look like Legos. Like, what the heck?
And Zoro points out that there are people in town and they should just talk to them.
And then Luffy's like, you're right, let's go.
At the very least, they're less idiotic than before.
But Luffy's just Luffy.
But then Sanji, being the fourth that he is, bro, counters all our points here by saying the others don't seem to be here. And Usopp replies, how do you know? My radar isn't picking up Robin-chan. And then he proceeds to sniff. Bro, this man has literally memorized the scent of Robin and Nami, probably.
And Nami's like, are you a hound or something? Like, what's wrong with you?
Imagine that every time he saved Nami and Robin in certain situations, like in Wano, how he helped Robin, right? Right in the nick of time, that he's been finding them by sniffing them out. Luffy is excited, ready to set off on a new adventure in this unknown land. So all the men set off, all excited, you know. The smell of adventure excites them. Meanwhile, Nami's just left behind. She's just so... The most logical person right now is she's just weary. Like, bro, we don't even know this land. As they're walking, as they're making their way, soon they come across a figure that starts hopping towards them. And then it lands in front of them. And it turns out to be this hefty, bearded, burly old man wearing similar clothes to them, but like in a biker fashion.
Yeah.
And this man is literally riding on a grasshopper.
That's so funny, dude. And he's riding it like it was like a bike or a motorcycle.
The grasshopper has a helmet and it has handles. He's holding it like a bike. So what happens next? Instantly, Nami is disgusted by the bug.
Of course.
Because we've seen her be disgusted by bugs.
Yeah.
So it's understandable that she instantly backs away with her hands up. It's like, no way, keep that bug away. But next to her is Sanji. Did we ever know that Sanji is also disgusted by bugs?
Oh, no, I don't think so.
He's right next to her the same way.
It's like the same way. Yeah.
They instantly back away.
That's crazy. I don't think there's ever been an instance where,
Not, I kind of respect that decision, Oda. He's basically in a panic because then he starts asking a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Like, who are you, old timer? Where is this place? Do you know anything about our crew? That old man's all like, oi, calm down, man. That's a lot of questions, man. The burly man replied also with, my apologies. I'm in too much of a rush to stay in chat. And because they're new to the land, he also tells them, just know that this land belongs to the sun god.
Dun, dun. Luffy? Luffy owns this land.
Speaking of Luffy, he's all like, God? And the burly man continues, I help maintain that big Stein castle. And he points out the castle which they just left from.
Yeah.
And he adds that it's the domain of the deities, like the great Iscat. So Zoro asks, someone lives there? He's like, no. It's a cat.
A cat lives there. Luffy's like,
our bad, dude. We kind of whooped that cat. Then before he could even finish his sentence, Usopp grabs his mouth and quickly covers it, man. He's like, nope. And then the burly old man says, to put it simply, this is the land of the gods.
That's interesting. That line specifically is interesting because where else have we heard that?
Skypiea?
Maryjaw.
Maryjaw, that's true.
Yeah. So they call that place the land of gods too. So
by the end of this chapter, I think that's nope. They have nothing to do with each other. Because he continues, now I must be off. The needle god must be hungry by now. And Nami has her mouth tightly squeezed. She's like, because she's the one that took down the apparent needle god, bro.
Yep.
Say, now Nami took down a god. The burly man adds, all the uproar over the ear god being burnt really delayed me. Now Usopp, who's still holding Luffy's mouth all shut, is starting to sweat while the rest of the crew is in the background looking away and just whistling.
Like,
everything that this man is going to and has been struggling with is
all
caused by the Straw Hats.
It's all because of them.
They ate the ear god, bro. The burly man finally ends his dialogue by warning them that the road that they're traveling with is a dangerous road because it leads to the temple of the rabbit guardians that protect the sun god. And then he says, no one has ever ventured past there and returned to tell the tale. Instantly, Nami rebukes him. I say, shut up, old man. Take that back. Luffy's expression, bro. Like, what'd you say, bro? I take that as a challenge.
And that boy immediately takes off. He's like, bet. He's like,
All he leaves is Nami and Usopp and Sanji screaming, no way. All they can do is Usopp thanks the old man for the info, and Nami tells him sorry about this with a nice, cute teehee pose. Ow, like teehee. Like, how can you deny that, bro?
That's so funny.
The old man is shot right in the Kokoro way. A gift from her for the revelations that are about to hit the old man, who's about to learn what they have done.
And then after that, Zoro
with mighty killer looking eyes are like rabbit guardians, huh? I like Sanji. So like, whoosh, you and Luffy basically enable each other.
They're enablers, bro. That's what they do.
Before we move on with them chasing after Luffy, Oda does show a panel of the moment that the burly old man arrives at the castle.
He's like, what happened to the castle?
There's nothing but rubble. Oh, that's funny. And poor old man.
Dude, they've been all here for, I don't know, how long?
5 minutes.
And already
the rest of the crew runs off to chase after Luffy. And while they are chasing him, Luffy, bro, this is just the spirit of the shonen protagonist, bro. He's running around all happy saying, this place reeks of adventure, bro. Which that's One Piece, dude. While huffing and puffing and struggling to keep up with the rest, Nami yells, wait, look at that castle. There's a castle ahead of them. But she also points out that doesn't it look like the other one?
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
She points that out, and that's important because then Luffy notices something and he's all like, eh. And he yells to them, someone's running this way. And they're in Elbaf gear too. He's like, whatever. I'll just dodge him. And here he comes. His moment. He's all like, left, left. Boom! Like a clash between gods, bro. The fabric of reality begins to crack because right in front, where we see Luffy just smashed into his own face somehow.
Into his own face.
There begins to show cracks. The others in the back, they're like, oh, nani? And then they see it. They're like, the sky is breaking because it's a sky and it's starting to have cracks because Luffy just broke, apparently, time and space. Even the people that were in town start freaking out because they can see the cracks because that's how big it is. That the impact was so strong. He's literally breaking the sky.
Yeah.
And now we can just assume that it's some sort of glass because Luffy just ran into his own face and the hint that Nami gave and now cracks. The glass starts to fall. Once the glass falls, the crew can see what's on the other side. And what they find is a giant room. And Zoro says that we still can't be in that huge ship. And then Usopp points out that this isn't like any of the cabins that they had. Usopp also mentions, he's all like, what's up with this wire net? And then we get a wide shot of where they're at. And we can see it's not a wire net. It's a cage. It's a literal cage. Sanji points out, is like, is this some sort of pet cage? And then the cutest thing that I can't wait to hear, well, not even the cutest, but probably the saddest, is guys, was that noise you? Are you there? Help me. They're looking around, and all they had to do is look down and see that's Chopper. He's waving that thing. He's like, bro, save me. He has a metal collar on his neck, bro. Next page is just, they save Chopper. Full on waterworks. He's weeping and saying, I'm so glad to see you.
Poor Chopper.
And then the next panel, Nami is hugging Chopper. She's down on her knees, just cradling Chopper, calming him down by telling him, there, Chopper. Everything's gonna be okay. And poor Chopper, he's all like, that collar was made out of steel. I couldn't get it off. I thought I was gonna die.
Someone made him a pet.
But then Nami follows it up by saying, you owe me for this hug.
In typical Nami fashion.
She doesn't come cheap. Usopp just yells at her, hey, that's cold. You were scared earlier too. He's saying that while also investigating.
Yes.
See? Character development, bro. That man was already investigating the room. He notes that there's more human-sized clothing and also notes that it's actually well crafted. The craftsmanship on this clothing is pretty good. And Luffy is an investigator. That man is just looking for things to do, and he finds another Lego block. That's how you know this man is bored. He just finds a Lego block. He's like, hey, look, more blocks, more of these weird shaped things. Sanji, he's standing on a table high up. They were all on the floor.
Yeah.
And remember, this room isn't normal. It's a giant's room, so everything is supersized. Sanji notes that the whole country was made out of them, and that would explain the horrible scent from earlier when we were grilling up the rabbit.
Yeah.
So I don't know how they cooked that rabbit, but apparently the smell, a pungent smell that they had was from the plastic burning. Since Sanji was standing at the table, he's above, has a higher view than everybody else, and he tells everybody to come on up because they might be interested to see what he's seen.
Yeah.
And when everybody goes up, they see the cage that they were in, but Usopp yells out that it's see-through. So Sanji added that it looked like normal glass on the inside, but on the outside,
see-through.
This next scene, stupid Sanji, bro. He instantly raises up his hand and tells Nami-san, I volunteered to clean the ladies' room. Bah!
Sanji doing as Sanji does.
Nami instantly drop kicks him in his face.
As she should.
And screams, don't you dare, because I can see this man picking up some of that glass and taking it with him. And then Zoro questions, like, is this some sort of sick hobby? For Usopp, takes this as confirmation that they must be in Elbaf. I'm like, look at this room. It's giant and doesn't look like anything that I saw on the ship.
He's coming to the conclusion. He's like, okay.
Meanwhile, you still get Luffy the idiot just be like, for real?
He's like, heck yeah.
We've made our destination, guys.
Yeah.
It's funny because then they begin conversing on what they're going to do next. And the group is conversing. Obviously, Luffy's out of the picture always in these cases. He's like, yeah, guys, okay. But maybe I should blow away this guy first. The others turn around. They're like, what are you talking about? But the scene that they see is Luffy getting ready to punch this giant snake. Of course, Usopp, Nami, Chopper instantly freak out. And then Usopp's like, hey, go for it, buddy.
He's like, you got this, homie.
And then Nami hears squeaking. And she looks down because they're on top of this table.
Yeah.
So when she looks down beneath the table, she sees a bunch of rats. And then Sanji looks up because he hears another thing and looks up and there's a flying crow. So they figured these must be the rabbit guardians that the burly old man, the rabbit guardians that protect the sun god that the old man was talking about. Luffy adds that, hey, I'm still full from the rabbit I ate, so I'm just going to send him flying. When he's fighting animals, the first thing he thinks of is to eat them.
Yeah.
I almost forgot that because he tried to eat Chopper too.
Yep, that is true.
Next page, we see a foot taking a step, a close-up of the foot taking a step. Then the next panel, we see that figure, it's walking down a hall. And then we get a closer shot as it arrives and stops in front of a door. We can presume that this is the giant. So this must be a giant in front of a giant door.
Yeah.
And it seems they're about to go in. So this giant is wearing this long black cloak with a deer skull.
Yeah.
And antlers that look like open palms.
It's Rudolph.
Is holding a staff. Holding a staff. Have we ever seen someone with a staff that isn't a mage? Well, there is no mages yet in One Piece.
Yeah.
But a priest, maybe?
I don't know. The only person that has a staff that I can think of is Nami with her bow staff. But yeah,
she does have kind of mage powers. If you think about it.
Yeah.
Oh, the staff kind of looks like a ring light.
Ring light or a sun. And then the figure also has a shield on the back as well. So
it's standing at the door and I guess he's reaching out for the door, but then he hears a voice saying, don't play around, guys. If you don't finish them off before the sun god gets here. And then that voice is cut off by poof. And instantly this plume of white smoke coming out beneath the door. And the giants are like, yeah. Instantly after that, it's like, wait, Luffy, that's overkill. And then Luffy replies with, hey, I'm not the one who busted the fireplace and let the flames spread. And then that shocks the giant
And he's
upon
like,
hearing
"What?"
this. And I'm assuming he quickly opens the door and witnesses their own hell. Upon opening the door, everything is engulfed in flames. And the giant says, "What? This can't be my beloved temple."
And then you get a shot of Luffy on the side. He's just in gear 5 laughing.
The snake is on the opposite end, hissing at Luffy. Towards the center is Zoro. You can see Zoro, who looks to be calmly walking amidst all these flames towards a flying crow. What a chat, bro.
Yeah, what a badass, as Zoro is.
Then Usopp is the first to notice, and he's stunned to see this giant who has entered the room. And he quickly tells Luffy, so like, the sun god is back, bro. Let's run for it. And then instantly on the next panel, we get Zoro one-shotting the crow. Just
Immediately, just dead.
And upon seeing this, the giant says, Mugen. I guess that's the crow's name. Which I looked into it, and I think that's a combined name of the pair of ravens called Hugin and Munin in Norse mythology. Yeah.
Really?
He has a pair of ravens.
Oh, that's okay. Interesting.
Then after that, we get Luffy winding up for an attack. And that boy says, Gomu Gomu no, booming arm, dawn pistol. And he one-shots the snake, which then Luffy leaps into the cage where everybody's waiting while laughing like a madman. So as they're running away, Usopp yells that the giant is huge, which this brings up my question of, he's met giants.
Yeah.
They've all partied with giants.
Correct.
So is this antler giant bigger than the giants that they've met? Because from what we know, Dory and Broggy are the bigger giants, bigger than the average giant. So who knows? Maybe this giant is ordinarily giant.
Yeah.
Bigger. So as they're running away, the giant cat from earlier, Cat, I think his name was, if I recall correctly, it appears in front of them and it pounces to attack.
Yeah.
And all we see is a speech bubble that says "Bam." In the next panel, the cat with a big lump on its head and it's carrying the straw hats on its back. And we get like speech bubbles for the cat to say "nya nya nya," and Chopper being able to translate for animals. It says, "You'll pay for this." Nami's all like, yeah. Anyway, look at this. And then whoop, she opens and shows everyone a map. And she adds, I couldn't find any loot, but map. And if you're like, we didn't even get to see, how do they have all this money? Now you know, bro. She's on it. She's on it, bro. They're like, oh, it's a map, probably a blueprint of the country that we were just in, or the cage that they're just in. But then their conversation is interrupted by the giant appearing behind them. And like you mentioned earlier, not only is he holding up his staff, but now he has shield at hand. And now you know that the giant means business, bro.
Yeah. This man's he's pissed.
Yeah, he's yelling at them. How dare you defile my beloved country? Props to Usopp. Instead of losing it from seeing this giant appearing right behind him and yelling at them, he's looking at the map that Nami's holding and tells the others to keep going straight. Yeah. Because if we keep going straight, we can bust the mirror on the other side, on the opposite end. And then after we bust out from that end, we can just bust out from the wall that we'll find eventually, right? Just Hulk smash your way through this whole thing, bro. That's the plan. And in the next panel, we get to see the poor townspeople, bro. These people didn't even realize that 10 minutes ago, their ordinary lives just going to change drastically, because we get to see these poor townspeople who know nothing of the situation that's been happening this entire time, who have probably been trapped in this cage for years, maybe even decades, bro.
Yeah.
We don't even know. And now suddenly they see this giant who they refer to as their sun god running at them. Mm-hmm. They're all yelling in terror, and one of the townsfolk yells, "The sun god is incensed." I'm like, brother, that's an understatement. This man's entire hobby has been burned
to the ground.
And the chapter ends with a close-up of the giant's eye saying, "I won't let you escape."
Again, 5 minutes into this country
adventure.
And they've
already pissed off a god.
They've already pissed off a quote-unquote god, quote-unquote sun god, which is interesting. And now, why use that title, right? But we've already confirmed that within the Elbaf community or the Elbaf lore, right?
Yeah,
there is a sun god that they worship. So very interesting to learn more about the lore here. So,
well, what's the big elephant's name?
Zunisha. Zo.
You see how he befriended the sun god, which is what we assume to be Nika, right?
Correct.
Out of all the information we have, sun god being Nika, is it possible that the giants, instead of saying they worship the sun god, maybe one of them befriended the sun god?
Or what if the sun god was also a giant? The thing that gives me that theory is the giant straw hat that we saw in Eames' chamber.
Just like Shanks gave his straw hat to Luffy, a giant might have done that to Nika, and they were friends or mentors. It's just the cycle repeating itself, as we see often is the case.
Huh. Interesting. Okay.
The sun god, right? Having it also be related to the giants. So that's why this giant is calling himself the sun god. Having all of its pet animals named after mythical creatures.
Norse mythology.
In Norse mythology. So Viking mythology with them, with Elbaf. Do you get what's happening here? I get the feeling that this giant is a nerd. He's a chunin, bro. Chunibyo, a hikikomori, an outcast, a loner who lives in his mother's basement. Or in his mother's dungeon or something. This man is probably isolated from the rest of the giants and he's just super bored.
Wow. Very interesting theory. Like maybe he's a giant that, or maybe they are a giant that is bad at fighting or bad at battle or bad at doing other normal giant things that we don't know, right? Because we don't know their world and what is considered. But we do know that all giants or giants strive to be great warriors, right? And what if
maybe this one's not it? The opposite. He doesn't have a sword. It has a staff.
A staff and a shield.
And the title is RPG.
RPG, role-playing game.
D&D nerd.
Wow. I hate you so much right now.
I'm just working with context clues,
dude,
bro.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Dang, this man's reading between the lines right here.
This man if he invented see-through glass, he just invented the TV.
Yeah.
Live action, bro. Where do you think they are? Like, they assume they're not in the ship anymore.
Yeah.
So how do you think they got here? They were knocked out.
They were knocked out because they did drink the thing, and they let them know.
They're in this giant's playpen. Did he steal them from the ship?
I don't know.
They were drinking the night before.
Correct.
They got drunk.
Yep.
Maybe this giant was passing by with its own ship, saw that they were drunk. They were all passed out, and just decided to pick out the youngest, maybe coolest looking, prettiest. That's why he picked Nami over Robin. If anybody's complaining about where One Piece is heading right now, I'm like, we need a breather, bro.
Yeah, no, for sure. We just came off like a really intense arc, like almost even
Wano was peak. Gear 5th, the battles, and then we get Egghead, and that was peak.
That was absolute peak, yeah.
It was quick, but the story was so good.
Yes.
I kind of liked Egghead's arc better than Wano.
I loved Egghead's arc better than Wano. Like that is just facts. Like the fact that you can outright yourself from one arc to the next and you make your next arc so much better than the arc before, which was crazy, right?
Over a quarter century in.
Yeah, and it's just like, dude, like that is crazy. Like that is storytelling at its finest right there.
We can't get one place to the next. There needs to be a break in between.
Yeah.
Calm down, guys, if you're hating on this. If you're loving it, Remember, it's an adventure, bro. It's One Piece. This is peak One Piece. This is what it is.
One Piece. Peak Piece, bro. Peak Piece.
Fun, funny, chaotic.
As the Straw Hats are.
And just like the Straw Hats journey, smiles and happiness on your continued journey. And we are out.